And welcome back to JKLIVE here at Citizen Television. We have a great show for you today. The lineup right next to me, Danita Gatti. Remember, she was MP from Migori County back then, a woman rep back in 2013, and she suffered a car accident in 2014, didn't run in 2017, but was nominated into the National Assembly for People with Disabilities. And now she's ODM or nominee women rep back in Migori County, throwing her hat back in the ring. The man in the middle, Sweet Bunyore.
Sweet Bunyore.
Oh, love it.
Do you remember me?
Ruben Kigame, he announced a long time ago that he's running for president. He's now running as an independent. He'll tell us why he's still in the race. Right next to him, the man who is going to be Nairobi's next governor, who, depending on who you asked. He announced very early he was going for the top job. And then just recently, he was told, go back to Westlands, give way to Polygapi Gathe. Whoa, must have been tough. Folks, welcome to JKLIVE.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. Tim, let me start with you, because it must have been very difficult, because your name was up there with the top running and, you know, heading to win in this county. What happened?
You know, it's like a soldier on the battlefield, and the commander comes and says, we are retreating, even when you know you are going to hit and you are going to win. You remember what happened in Dunkirk and when the Allied forces were to attack the Germans, and the commander said, pull back. And the Germans, you know, that's the time Germany could have wiped out the but, you know, this is politics. Sometimes you might think it's a cowardice, but you retreat to fight another day. And I'm sure this position, if it was meant for me, it will come.
It will come eventually.
Yes.
But you're a little disappointed, aren't you, Tim?
Of course I was. Yeah. Because looking at everything, all opinion polls, I was leading everybody across the board, not just in our coalition, even from the other side. I was ahead of everybody. And I tell you, even right now, Nairobi is still adjusting to that, because the players now, I know some will get the fallback. My friend Igade is going to fight hard. But, yeah.
Won't be easy. Won't be easy. Let me skip over to you, Danita.
Jeff, I'm just dying.
You want to jump in? You want to jump in?
You know, as an independent candidate,
yes,
that's the way how not to do politics.
Go on.
Absolutely.
Go on, explain.
Because if someone is that good, if someone has appeal, if someone has a track record, if someone is loved by the people, you'd have to explain to me why the captain or whoever it is then knocks him out of the race. For what reason? For what rhyme? So as an independent candidate, I would say, not fair, not right, not good. Tim should have been the candidate for governor in Nairobi. In fact, I was telling him off the screens here, he should have let me fight his battle, because I like to fight. I like to fight injustice. I like to fight, you know, unfairness.
Right.
And I really think our country has come to a point where we need to give people living with disability a chance to participate like everybody else. There is the spoken and the unspoken. The spoken is, the general says, retreat and try something else. Yeah. The unspoken is, quite loudly, can he make it, you know, in his chair? Well, he's made it in Westlands. He's made it as an MP. And so that track record itself lends credence to the need for him to be Nairobi's next governor. In fact, I was waiting for you to come to me as an independent. So
But Ruben,
this is a time.
But Ruben, were you rejected by other parties? I mean, because you were in the three parties.
It's a story, Jeff. Some of them it's rejection. Some of them are not sure what to do with me.
Yeah.
in one of the, allow me to leave the names out because I respect people and their establishments, and they're facing an election. I don't want to pull down anybody's ego here. But one of the parties, it was a money game. It was, you know, they come to you and say, somebody else would like to run and is offering us this much. Mm-hmm. Do you have that much? Can you beat it? Of course I can't. Because I was not going into this game, into this race, because of how much money I had. I was going into this fired by what citizens are going through, what values we've lost, and how we are doing development wrong by focusing on infrastructure instead of people. And so in one other party, yes, I was accepted. And, you know, something happened and got out, tried to come back in, and it was no. We have now decided we are no longer fielding a presidential, candidate. And in one other party, there were hard choices between, you know, my faith and, you know, certain things. And so, of course, my faith will always win. So, and I can go on, but parties in this country have become vehicles of convenience, vehicles of aggrandizement, vehicles of ego to get people into office and negotiate on tribal lines for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You're absolutely right there. Danita, let me ask you this. In 2013, you were Women Rep Migori. Right?
Yes, I was.
And then what happened after that? How did you end up in the chair? That's what I'm getting at.
You know, I came into Parliament, Jeff, in 2013 as a Woman Rep Migori, of course, out of the Constitution, and, you know, there were all these opportunities that presented themselves, you know, to women. And then I got an accident 1 year into my election.
Road accident?
Yes, a road accident in Narok. And so I, all of us, a sudden transitioned into a disability, case. So I did my work as a disabled member, adjusting, and up to 2017 when I wanted to defend my position, and I couldn't. Of course, you know the challenges of disability. And I'm glad, Jeff, that we are actually discussing disability now. You know, the opportunity for us to be here in this time and era, talking about disability and politics or leadership or governance, it's huge. So tell me, in 2017, was it difficult? It was running. Of course, it was difficult. It was difficult, of course, and a large part was because of disability. You know, because for me, you know, here were people who probably didn't understand what disability was all about. I mean, they had elected me without a wheelchair or without disability. And then here you are again going back to them when you are disabled to look for a position. You know, it changes, and I don't know what it is. But I can tell you, my experience campaigning without a disability and with a disability is huge, Yeah. And, you know, I look at Ruben now, and I see, you see an opportunity that he's creating. By the fact that he's throwing himself into the ring, he's seeking to represent this country, you know, as a disabled, Kenyan. You know, those are opportunities also opening for persons with disabilities. And you know, otherwise we couldn't even do that. So for me, I draw back to my own experience because I could see and I could tell that people are still not very comfortable with disability, but we have to change it. We just have to change. Yeah. I have thrown myself back to the ring to be the Women Rep Migori because, you know, that time I hadn't also accepted myself. Because there's another thing, you know, getting a disability and accepting it and trying to make it normal, normalize it. I hadn't done that. And I'm not saying that persons with disabilities face it easy. It is not easy. Yeah. But I could also see from the people. And that is what we are trying to change. We are throwing ourselves there to try and see how can we open opportunities for other disabled people who would never have thought that we can actually throw ourselves. And you know the challenge of a disabled person in this country, the mere thought that I can actually even tell my family or my immediate friends that I want to do politics. You know, that thought can take you 100 years to even think, because people do not expect that a disabled person can offer themselves to be seen in public. You understand?
Yeah. So now you have the ODM nominee. You have the ticket.
Yes.
Can you take it? Can you take Migori?
Luckily enough, I am the nominee for Migori County Women Representative on ODM. Of course, Migori people have accepted me the way I am now as a disabled Migorian. And as a disabled person, they're accepting me. Of course, there are those challenges. But I have lived myself, you know, trying to prove to them that even a disabled person, I mean, what is it that I can do, Jeff? I am a woman with disability. I mean, is there anything a woman with disability or a person with disability cannot do? I reproduce, for example. Have you seen how many women with disabilities reproduce in this country? They are managing families. They are managing, you know, whatever any other able-bodied person can do. And so I am hopeful because the people of Migori have given me the honor and the chance by nominating me now to be the women rep Migori.
How many people were on the nomination list? How many did you beat?
I beat 4. I beat 4, you know, obviously I won in the nomination of my party. I've worked hard for my party, of course, and people have seen that I have been truthful to my party and been faithful and loyal to my party. And I have also been loyal to the people. So I have received that opportunity because I won the nomination. Now I have the certificate and I'm waiting for August. So I am just hoping that, and people are changing. People are changing, although it is not easy. Persons with disability, we must work 3 times as hard to prove that you are able. Even when you know you are able, you have to prove to the society that I am here, I am able, I am capable, and I am indeed fit for this job.
Okay, Tim, let me ask you this. A lot of people don't know your story. How did you end up in that chair?
My ending up in this chair actually was about crime. I was shot by carjackers. One evening when I was just left work and I was going home, and some fellows accosted me somewhere in Ngara, and they shot me, and that is it. Very quickly, my life transformed from just, you know, a young, vibrant lawyer to a wheelchair.
What year was that, Tim?
That is 1998.
98?
Yes.
24 years ago.
22 years now.
Yeah.
And that is life-changing. You know, as Danita says, it is very difficult to transform from one condition of life to another one. And that is what normally can drive you into depression. It can lead you to denial and many other things. So, but when you go through a process of healing, it takes quite some time. And healing the mind is the most difficult thing. You know, they can heal the wound, they can heal everything, but the mind is very, very, very difficult. So once you reach that stage, and I caught in that stage myself when actually I went to Brussels, where I went for rehabilitation. And in there, I was in a room for 2 days, sleeping. So the 3rd day, some lady came to me and she wanted to take me out. And I said, can you see I'm sick? I'm lying there covering myself. She never left. She stood there for almost 2 hours until I had to get out. I woke up slowly. She threw the clothes at me, dressed up. Then when we left the room, we went to the gym. And in that gym, I saw wonders. That people there who had lost all limbs, you know, the injury is very high at the neck. So the hands are not functioning, everything. Some have lost their memory. They are trying to reconstruct the memory. And then I said, what? Then I'm better than these fellows. Why am I complaining? And that was the beginning of my road to recovery. So from there, it encouraged me now, I must pick up and must go away. And then there was a gentleman whom I met there, a foreigner. He was from Lebanon. This guy just used to come there and encourage me every day and told me, you're a great man, you'll recover and you'll be a great man. You know? And that thing actually worked on my mind, and I kept on saying, I must go back home, I must go back home. And yeah, I came back home and I went back to my practice. But things had changed. Nobody was looking at me the same way I was as when I was there, including the people who were my colleagues at work, the staff and everybody. All my clients were taken away, so I could come in the office and sit from morning to evening doing nothing, home, doing nothing. After like 1 year, I told my brother, I'm leaving, I'm going to set up my own practice. He thought I was joking. And I resigned and left. I went and set up my practice. Luckily, some of my clients who were with me there, they followed me. They said, Tim, even if it means carrying you to court, we are ready to go with you. And these are the guys who gave me now the fighting spirit. And I took off. From there, I've never looked back. And even my brother who was panicking, later on now he came and looked at me and said, okay, I can see you are doing well. I said, yeah. You know, I still have a fighting spirit in me.
And just for the record, yes. Those who don't know your brother, we know it's Moses Wetang.
Moses Wetang.
Just in case.
He was my employer.
Yes.
Yes.
Ruben, I see you nodding.
Yes.
You seem to relate to Tim's story, huh?
In a different way, and because of interacting with persons with disability of different kinds.
Yeah.
I totally resonate with what he's saying. There needs to be an understanding of what causes disability and how people become disabled. Because when you look at us here, it looks distant. It looks impossible to happen to you, you know, watching JKL tonight. But the truth is, he was okay before. She was okay. And a road accident or a criminal incident like a carjacking could change everything very, very quickly. And so what we need to demystify is that this is not an entitlement or a curse that somebody is born with. You know, there are religious people who believe that, you know, you are disabled because you have a curse or your parents did something wrong. It is pretty close. It could happen to a president like Kibaki. It could happen to anybody. It can happen to Ruto. It can happen to Raila. Nobody is born with a certificate of freedom from disability. And so some of the situations are congenital, and some of them are accidental. In my case, it was cataracts in both eyes. And we know that cataracts nowadays can be attended to very easily. You know, it's not even invasive. So in my days, I couldn't get that help. Sometimes the issues are economic. And so for those of us that are in this space, we come bringing to politics two worlds. The world of disability that knows what disability is all about, and the world of stereotypes and stigmatization that we have to fight. And the worst thing you can do is lose your mind or lose your cool. It used to get to me. Yeah. Now it doesn't. I laugh at myself. Yeah. You know, those days when people would come to my wife, we're driving. Did I say we're driving?
Yes. Just said we're driving.
So she's driving. She's the driver's seat.
Yes.
By the way, I drive sometimes. Yeah.
No, you don't, Ruben.
I do. I've driven from Kagio to Sagana. I've driven from Eldoret town to my house. I'm glad the police didn't catch me. But
Ruben, wait a minute.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Wait. Let's talk about this. So the thing is that if you don't fight for it, nobody's going to give it to you on a platter. And everything I have achieved in life, whether it's just the PhD I'm working on now, or the teaching of a class, or, you know, doing a radio show, as I used to, or singing a song, you know, people think these are miracles. No, it's just about defying the odds. And I've decided in my life to defy defeat. So I've refused to be defeated because the world wants you to sit down there. You know, I wouldn't be on your show tonight. the way the African community in particular looks at disability is I should be sitting on the streets with a begging bowl.
Right.
I'm running for president because the Constitution allows it, because my faculties allow it. I'm running for president because I believe I offer a better solution than all our seeing presidents for 59 years who have brought us to where we are today. In fact, if eyesight could help any politician or any leader to lead a country, then I would say that it has never helped our leaders before, because we're poor. We still have those three big issues, you know, poverty, ignorance, and disease, and we have a fourth one, corruption and impunity, and wanton borrowing, and lawlessness. I mean, why wouldn't eyesight or lack of disability help these politicians? It is time for us to be given opportunities to be able to make a difference, perhaps to bring to the table a different way of thinking, a different way of looking at Jeff. Jeff, when I think of you, I only think about what I know about you as a broadcaster, you know, as a great interviewer, CNN, you know, world-class BBC type. So I would hire you on merit, not because of how you look. I know you have a nice suit. That suit is nice.
You just told me earlier on I was looking good.
Yes,
you told me.
Absolutely. And so, but I would not give you the job because of your suit.
Right.
Because tomorrow you'll not wear it.
Correct.
I'll give you the job because of what I know. And I really hope I become president so that I prove this by removing you from here and giving you a job. Oh, yes. And the point
I'll
is...
remind you.
I'll remind you. Don't need to remind me. So the point is that I'm able to think, what does our country need? What do the people need? Instead of the pomp of infrastructure, the pomp of, you know, the visuals. I see people with my heart. And I believe time has come for persons with disability not just to be sympathized with. I hate it when I hear someone say, a party leader say, okay, Kagame is running, so we're going to give nominations to everybody that comes to us who has disability. Yeah. That kind of reflex operation is not just clandestine, it's evil. We don't want to be beggars. We don't want to run around with begging bowls. Please nominate me, please nominate me. I'm going to fight for it. And IEBC, for example, put a caveat. You know, you're getting ready for the nominations, and then they tell you you're not just going to get 2,000 signatures in majority counties. You also need to get copies of IDs of everyone. Now, Jeff, you know, if I pulled out my ID, I would not even know whether the picture there is mine or not. So if you give me your ID to photocopy, right, as a blind man, I'll do it because IBC says do it, but I will need extra eyes to check and tally. Well, who pays for that? Chebukati doesn't know. He doesn't think in those terms. IBC officials just know plug and play. They don't listen to anybody. Like us, of course. Maybe they listen to everybody else, you know. And they read things in the light of vision. They assume that as a blind... Well, you know what I've decided to do? I'm going to fight so hard to get not just 2,000. I hope I get 7,000. And I hope Kenyans come out in droves and give me those ID copies. So I will arrive at IBC having fulfilled, but not on a sympathy basis. And so I look at my brother, I look at my sister, and I say, these guys were not born with a disability. But I must remind again that nobody is immune from disability.
Absolutely, Ruben. That's a great point. Look, I want to take a quick break and come back. And Danita, what Tim was just saying a moment ago, do people see you differently from 2013 when you were women rep and then the accident happened? Do people view you differently? Are they more accepting of you now? right? And moving forward, Tim, I mean, look, like you said, this governor seat was yours. You still have the hopes and ambitions.
Of course. If you are a politician and you are not ambitious, then you have no business.
Wow, what a conversation. Straight and frank, folks. For people with disabilities, I hope you're watching, because there's so much hope. Never, ever give up. Keep tweeting at Kwenanga Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JKLIVE. We'll also go to your tweets on the magic wall. See your reaction to these great guests. JKLIVE takes a break. We'll be back in a moment.